All right, so we'll get rolling here, and one thing that I highly recommend, I didn't tell you guys this before, but I usually, when we do the problems, I say before we do the problem. When we solve the problems on here, one thing, I'm a very visual type person, I'll show you charts and graphs as you go. One of the things I highly recommend is a timeline when we do the problems, okay? So when we do a timeline, it'll look something like this, and you have your present value, future value, and your interest rate. And those are the four variables that we have on our calculator right now, right? So if we have three of the four, whatever's missing, that is what we're looking for. But to me, it gives you a nice visual representation of what the problem is asking for, what it's doing. And so as we go through today, I'm going to put timelines on all these problems and stuff for you. And I think it's a good way for you guys to really get a good grasp on the material and the subject matter. Okay, yes, sir. It's number first, number then variable. It's always number then variable. Okay. All right, so let's jump in, and Greg, as we go through, if you have questions, let me know. I'll put it up on the screen and stuff like that. Okay. So let's jump in. We got First City Bank pays 7.5% simple interest on a savings account, whereas Second City Bank pays 7.5% compound annually. Okay. If you make an $8,600 deposit in each bank, how much more money would you earn from First City Bank at the end of 8 years? Okay, so let's deal with First City Bank here. Okay, now First City Bank has simple interest. So somebody tell me, what is simple interest again? One more time. Doesn't add on from the previous year, right? You just get interest on the principal only. Okay, so we got our $8,600 deposit. We're going to invest that at 7.5%. So how much is our interest? 645. Okay. And we're going to do that for 8 years, right? So what's our total there?
13,760.
13.
Or what the interest is 5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, give me the interest first. I'm sorry. What's the interest?
5,160.
5,160, and then we add our initial, and that's where we get the 13,760, right? Okay, very good. Everybody good there? Okay. All right. So then we go over to Second City Bank. Now, Second City Bank has compound interest, and what is compound interest? Gains interest on itself, so interest on interest and the principal, right? So we're getting it above. Okay, so if we use our timeline, remember we got present value, future value, and when we do the timeline, every timeline I do it the same way. Okay, so probably after today, I won't put what the variables are. We'll put it up, put the numbers up, because it's always the same. So we got 8,600 here, 7.5 here, 8 here. So what is our future value for compound?
$15,337.91.
91, right? Okay, did everybody get that number? Reagan, how you coming on that?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. All right, but it asks us how much more, right? So we got to take out the 13,760. So how much more is what?
1577.91.
1577, right? Now, where does that come from? Where does that extra 1577 come from?
For interest.
The interest on the interest, right? Okay, so that's the interest on the interest, and we call that what?
Free interest.
Free interest or free money, right? Okay, remember, that's just free money. When you're getting compound interest, then it's free money. This is for 8 years. Not a whole lot there, but when you start popping that out 20, 30, 40 years, and maybe get a little more aggressive on your interest rate, it'll make a big difference in your numbers. Okay? Everybody good? Questions on it? Okay? All right. Okay, so the next three were just nothing but practice with your calculator. So, and I'm not gonna go over all of them. Unless you guys ask, but we won't do them all. So on the first one here. We've got, let's do the top one, 2597, 11 years, 13% interest. What's our future value? Yeah, 9961 and what, 73? Yeah, there we go. Very good. Okay. Is everybody good there? Yes, ma'am.
Do it on the calculator. I don't have.
Yeah, so. Now, whenever we're doing a problem or starting a problem, what's the first thing we should do on the calculator? Clear everything out, okay? And make sure, we want to use the clear time value money. So we're gonna do second clear time value money. One, I don't know if I had anything in there. I don't want to call and just clear it all out, and I know it's gone. We've got 11 years, so it's 11 and 13% is my interest rate. Okay, 2597. What am I going to do with the present value? We're going to make that negative for my present value, and then we're just going to compute future value there. Okay, 996 or 9961.73. Is that good, Reagan?
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. If I don't clear time value money, what happens to all my variables in the calculator? They stay. They stay. And right now, it's not a big deal because we're only using those 4 buttons and we're going to either replace or solve for one of those 4. In the next chapter, though, we're not. So you might have some stuff left in there and it'll throw your answers off. Okay. All right. On the next one, let's do the 48, 318, 9 years, 7% interest. What's our present value there?
$6,281.79.
Very good. Okay, is everybody good there? Yeah. Let's see, the next one. Let's do 185. 382, we got 48,000. 11 years, we're looking for our interest rate there. What's our interest rate to take 48,000 to 185? Go ahead. 13.07. Yeah. Is everybody good on that? Okay. And everybody avoided the error 5 on that? Okay. You got an error 5, what's the situation? We need to make one of our numbers negative, okay? Hopefully present value, just to stay consistent. Okay. On the last one here, let's do this. So we got 43,500, 43,258, 11% interest. What's our, how many periods there for that?
33.87.
33, 22. 21.96. On periods, folks, most of the time we're going to round those up. Okay, so those are pretty much either going to be whole numbers. It might be a half or a quarter, but we're not going to look at like 20 in a third or anything like that. But usually it'll either be a half or a whole number. So remember, money we're going to round to up. 2 decimals and interest rate. We really want to take interest rate out to 4 decimals. Not really too worried about it with this chapter, but when we get to the next chapter, it'll make a big difference. So. Okay, everybody good? Any questions? Did you get it figured out?
And put it in on the first.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so, this is nice, the homework's nice because it tells you what you're looking for, you know. I'm not gonna be that nice on the exam. But, you need $325,000 when your kid goes to college in 18 years. You currently have $85,000 to invest. So what interest rate turns your 85,000 to take care of this bill that you got for your child?
7.74%.
Yeah, 7.74. Okay. Is everybody good there? Yes, sir.
Last one, years. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, If it's compounded, you really, would you round that up, because you wouldn't see it for the next 4 years?
Yeah, it'll be 22.
So you would never enter the investment.
No, it'll be, if it is, it might be 22 and a half or so. It's gonna be, it's not gonna be some big oddball number. It'll either be, it's gonna be like quarter or half, but most of the time with periods, we're just gonna round to a whole period. Yeah. You won't have to worry about that. Now, the interest rate will be different. Like I said, 4 decimals there. But time will generally be whole periods. Not, if it is, it'll be like a half. I'm not gonna break that up into, oh, you're off like 3 days at the end of it, so it'll be a whole number. All right, so on the next one, at 4.3% interest, how long does it take your money to double? How could you ballpark that?
Rule 72.
Yeah, rule 72, what would that be if you use rule 72?
16.74 years.
Okay, but we want to be exact. Now it's asking for doubling. You can put any number you want in there, no matter how many zeros, it's not going to change. So I'm a little bit lazy. I'm not going to key a bunch of zeros. I'm just going to go 1 to 2. That doubles, right? So what is the N here? $16.46, right? Then it asks for, what about if we quadruple? Okay, can you just take what your other answer was and double it? Could you do that? Anybody? Why not, right?
Um,
You shook your head, so I caught that. Go ahead.
I mean, I guess you could theoretically, but you don't know if that is compounding or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, if it's simple interest, yes, you could, because that's linear growth, right? But understand, with compound interest, what type of growth? We get? Exponential growth. So we got, as we get further along, it's gonna grow much faster. So in essence, we can't really double. When we're dealing with such small amounts here, like $1 or whatever, and fairly short term, it's gonna be fairly close. What did you get here? 32.93 or something like that. Okay. Everybody good there? Any questions? All right. Okay, let's look at the next one. So according to the Census Bureau, in October of 2019, the average house price in the US was $368,600. In October of 2000, the average price was $197,700. So it's the annual increase in the house price, right? So we have 197,700, 368,600. Our periods is 19. So what's our interest rate there? 3.33. Okay. If you notice, it says where to go. Let's see, annual increase. We're talking about appreciation rate of houses. Don't let verbiage throw you off. Here we can talk about, it could say increase, it could say discount rate, what's the interest rate, what's the rate of return, what's the cost of capital. All of that just refers to interest rate, okay? Depending on what our situation is, we'll use terms interchangeably. Quite honestly, some of the stuff that's how in finance we make people think it's really confusing, and it's not. Because finance folks make a lot of money. and they don't want a lot of people playing in that pool. So it's one way to keep people out. I don't know what they're talking about. Cost capital, all this stuff, it's all interest rate, same thing. Okay? All right. So. This question is interesting, and we'll talk more about cars later on. You're trying to save for you want to buy a $275,000 Ferrari. Okay, you have 50,000 today. 4.8% interest. How long before your tush touches the Corinthian leather in that car?
It's like 3-6 years.
Okay. 36.36 years. Everybody getting that one? Okay. Anybody? Yes, sir.
So are we round on that answer?
Yeah, on the exam it will be. Here I'm just leaving it, but on the exam it'll be, it would be rounded, yeah. Anybody ever gotten any one of those things? No? Yeah? Reagan? Did you like it?
It was amazing.
It was what?
It was amazing.
Yeah? Did you get to go for a ride or just sit in the thing? There you go. That's
They let us watch it all day long.
good.
It was great.
There you go. Love the car that can break every speed limit in the first year. Of course, by the time you get old enough to buy it, you can't work the clutch and the stick shift at the same time because you got arthritis or whatever in your knee and it doesn't work the same way. But no. You ever see those videos where the old guys trying to get in and out of those cars? I watched one and the guy's like falling out and rolls on the ground and I'm like, dude, that just kind of ruins the whole effect. Anyway. When you get older, you don't buy cars you have to fall into and climb out of. You get ones you climb into, and then if you fall out, it's okay. All right, number of periods. No, we did that one. All right. So we have a company here, and this will happen quite a bit when you look at investing and you're trying to get a value on a company and stuff like that. So this company has unfunded pension of $450 million. Oh, too close to the edge. Sorry about that. It's got to be paid in 20 years. The analysts are going to discount that at 5.2%. So what is their pension liability today? What do we get?
The $163,266,730.60.
There you go. Right, you don't have to raise your hand, just say it out there. I'm good. Okay. So 163 million, okay? Everybody good there? Any questions? Okay. All right. You just received notification. Here you go. This is really get you excited, right? You just won $2 million. Except you gotta wait 80 years. You can collect it on your 100th birthday. That'd be the lottery, I think. At 9.1% interest, how much did you actually win?
$1,880.
There you go. Okay, everybody good there? Rocking and rolling. 1,800 bucks. You just gotta wait 80 years to collect the million or 2 million. Let's see. All right, so you got a coin collection here. So your coin collection contains 1952 silver dollars that the grandparents purchased at face value when they were new. What's your collection worth when you retire in 2067? Okay, so we got $50. hopefully you get more than 4.3%. So from 1952 to 2067, how many years do we have?
115.
115 years, right? So what's your retirement worth?
$333.82.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, isn't it? Why is it so low? Let's see if you're grasping some concepts here. Why is it so low?
Started so low.
We started so low, that's one. What's the other reason? The interest rate, okay? Anybody, have you guys started looking at your interest rates yet? Look at what they are in your bank accounts and checking account and credit cards and all that stuff. We'll talk more about that in the next chapter. Okay. All right, golf championships, here you go. This will make you want to play golf, I guess. So the first championship, they won $150. In 2019, the check was worth $2,250,000. Okay. So from 1895 to 2019, how many years do we have there? Okay, 124. What's the appreciation rate of the winnings there?
8.0632.
Okay. 8.0632. Then it says, well, what if we keep that same winning percent or appreciation rate and we go from 2,250,000, right? And we go from 2019 to 2044, so what's that, 25 years? 8.0632. What's our winnings worth then? What's it exact? 624?
I got 15,636.88.
Okay, 636, you said 88 and 30?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your number one more time, 15,
I got 15,224.
51690. Okay. Any other?
I was just gonna say, I have the same issue with that number is because you use 2 decimal places instead of 4. You just use like the 8.06 instead of the 32.
And that, there you go. That's why I say when we get going, I'm not too worried about it right now. I want to make sure you're getting the process first, okay? But really, 4 decimal places. So here we're talking, what, 25 years, and look, we got a $12,000 difference, right? When you get talking in business world, it's gonna be a lot bigger. Anybody ever see that movie Office Space? You ever see that? It's an old comedy, I think it's like in the late 80s, 90s, somewhere in there. Basically, this group of office people, they were skimming 1,000 of 1% off of transactions. And they're like, oh, it's not gonna matter. Nobody will even miss this, right? And within about a 3-month period of time, you invest in something like over $5 million. It depends on the number of transactions, and it depends on how many transactions. It's a funny little comedy if you ever get a chance to watch it. Pretty neat. But this is just a small example of why the 2 versus the 4 matters. But anything we do, it's going to be 4 decimals. Anything we do. Yeah. Like I said, right now I'm kind of lenient just because I want to make sure you're getting the process down. Once we have the process down, after this, it's 4 decimals. Because like I said, you'll see some of the stuff we're going to do in the next chapter. We're getting ready to break this up. This is annual. man, if you broke that up into monthly and stuff like that, the difference would be even bigger. And just to let you know how big, how many, dollars we're talking about in business. I had an intern spend some time with Goldman Sachs, or I'm sorry, yeah, Goldman Sachs out in Utah, and she was an auditor for them. And she said, if we got within $50 million, we didn't even bother with it. After that, 50 million, it's not worth looking at. They were happy if they got within $1 billion. It's like, what? You know, yeah, we got within $1 billion on the first round, we were happy, high five. I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, it gets kind of crazy. And that was an intern dealing with audits in the billions of dollars, so. You guys hopefully are looking for some of those internships and stuff. It makes a difference. She ended up taking a job with me too, so that's good. All right, let's look at the next one. So when we talk about art and collectibles, okay, art's not always performed as profitably. During 06, Sotheby's sold the Edward Degas bronze statue. I think that means little 14-year-old dancer or something like that. At auction for $10,311,500. The previous owner bought it in '99 for $12,377,500. So they're looking at what was the annual rate of return on the statue. So if we look at this, we know from '99 to 2003, we know N is 4. Okay, what's our present value here? Which one's present value?
10 million.
10 million?
Oh, no.
10 million is future value, right? So 10,311,500 is the future. Our 12,377,500 is the present. So what does that do for our interest rate or rate of return? Negative. So what's our number there? What? Yeah, thank you. Jane. Jane. There you go. And it's negative. So a lot of times when it's negative, you'll see me do brackets like that. And the reason I do that is so you don't see like interest rate equals negative, or I get if I do something like that because I'm doing it in a hurry or whatever. So anytime it's a negative, I always put brackets around it. Okay. So just be mindful of that. Everything doesn't appreciate. Sometimes things depreciate. Okay. Then you'll have that. It's going to be interesting to see if that happens in the housing market right now. With, yeah, with you guys graduate, you're ready to have to go invest in some homes, and with after COVID and everything else.
Very edgy town is costing us 750.
Mhm.
And it's from 19. What was it? It says 1950 something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? That's foundation.
Well, there's a house out our way that's 2 acres. And 1.5 acres of it's up the hill with wooded, so you really can't use it. The house was built in '60, it's 1,300 square feet, and I wanted $550 for it. I think they got it $490. I wouldn't pay more than 2. That's just me. But they got it. A house down the river from me, somebody paid $1.6 million for it, and it was their child's going here, and they bought it so they can come up and visit their child. More power to them. Let's see what. All right, let's look at the next one here. So we got the Brasher de Bloom featured in the plot of this Raymond Chandler novel, The High Window. It sold at auction in 2018 for $5.5 million. It had a face value of $15 when it was first issued in 1787. And it previously sold for $430,000 in 79. At what annual rate did the coin appreciate from its minting till its 1979 sale? So we go from $15 to $430,000. Okay. And we're going from 1787 to 1979. How many years we got there?
192.
192 years, right? So what rate did the coin appreciate? One more time? 5.49, okay. All right, very good. Then it said, at what rate did it appreciate from 79 to 18? So we went from 4.3 or 430,000 to 5.5 million. Okay, so that was what, 18 and 20, 39 years, to 39 years?
6.7534.
6.7534, okay. Then it said, well, what about from its initial minting till the 2018, so what is that? 221 years? 221?
237.
230, okay. So what was that appreciation rate? 5.7. You don't have to wait, you got it, go for it, okay? So here we've got one investment with 3 different rates of return. What would cause it? Why would it not just have one rate from start to finish?
Going up, down, right?
Okay, why?
Interest, not saying interest like this, percentage interest, I'm talking like, interest in the item, if it's valuable or not, like, for instance. An old Corvette probably might have gone down as soon as the new one came out. 3 years later, but now an old Corvette nowadays, people are really liking it because you can't find it.
Yeah. So with collectibles, it kind of changes, depends on people's interest and who's in and what generation has one, especially with cars, right? Okay. Well, let's look at this next problem and then we'll discuss that a little bit more. Okay. Did anybody read the white little box at the beginning of the chapter? Yeah, what did they talk about?
I read it like 3 or 4 days ago.
3 or 4 days ago.
Seriously, you savings bond.
Yeah, they were talking about savings bonds. Okay, so they're talking about Series E savings bonds. These are basically educational savings bonds. Quite honestly, maybe your grandparents gave these to you. And you know, if you were a little bit older, you actually got a piece of paper, a bond, and said, here you go. Nowadays, really, you get a website. And it says, hey, you got this bond, you can click here and see what it's worth and this, that, and the other. Okay. With most treasury investments, whether they're savings bonds or US savings bonds, EE savings bonds and things like that, you buy them at half of face value. So if it has $100 face value, you're gonna pay $50 for it. If it's $50, you're gonna pay $25. And then if you hold it until maturity, you get the face value, you get the $50 or the $100, whatever it is, okay? So with the EE savings bond, one of the features with those, we'll talk more about it later when we get to chapter 7, but they grow interest free, you don't have to pay taxes on them because they're for education and stuff. Okay, so depending on how you handle this, doesn't matter how you handle it, you should get the answer, the same answer. So if you said, hey, they were buying this at $50, thinking it's going to 100, or if you realize after reading the front, no, the face value is 50 and they paid $25, you could go either way. You're going to get the same answers. Okay. So if we look at the first one here, assuming you purchase a $50 face value bond, what is the exact rate of return you would earn if you held the bond for 20 years, okay, until it doubled in value? Now, why do they say the exact rate of return?
Because they don't want you to do the rule 72.
Exactly, because it says here double, so they're like, hey, some people are going to use rule 72 and ballpark it. We want to know what's the exact number, okay? So what is the exact rate of return on this thing? What'd you get?
$3.78.
378? Anybody else?
3.53,
Three what?
3.53.
353? Anybody else? 353 is what I got. Who had 378? I'm not sure why you don't, that's,
I probably missed it.
yeah, I'm just not. That's close, but yeah, but 353 is what we have. Then it says, all right, so we purchased in 2019 at the then current, so I'm gonna draw both these out, okay? So if you purchased it in 2019 at 1/10 of 1%, and this was 10 years, right? So what they're asking, how much is the bond worth in 2029? So halfway through the life of this bond, at 1/10 of 1%. What's your bond worth? And again, this is just a good example of why you got to pay attention to your interest rates, especially when you're investing. What's that thing worth?
100. Oh, I didn't know.
$25.
Yeah. 25 or 50. Woo, aren't you ready to retire without? Woo-hoo, man. Driving the car down the road. 25, right? Okay. Then it said, well, instead of cash in 2029, instead of cashing the bond then, okay. For its current value, decided to hold it till its face value doubles again in 10 years. So now we're going from here to here, okay? They're saying instead of cashing it in right here, we're gonna hold it for another 10 years until it actually does double in value, okay? So depending on which way you did this. What's the rate of return on the bond now? One more time?
7.07.
707, yep. There you go. So, yeah. Okay, sorry. I looked real quick. Thursday, by the way, Thursday, I'll put the seating chart. I'll run that. What was it like for? That way I can put a name with it. Right now, I got your pictures from when you were freshman. So you guys forget, I'll be happy to show you. That's all. Normally I don't use that. I don't know. I just put it off today for some, because some of you folks have changed so much, you know? Some have gotten their hair grown gray years and some shave their heads and stuff. But Thursday, I'll put the seating chart around so I can try to start working by name and stuff like that. But here, so back to this. So we have so here's one investment. It's a bond, one investment that over the course of life has multiple rates of return. So what we'll look at and then as we get done with chapter 6, chapter 7, we'll get into bond. We're going to look at what causes that, why does that happen? Okay. Why does our rate of return change and things when we have and especially on something like a bond, because when you're dealing with government investments, they're very stable investments. And normally you don't get a whole lot of return. How does that rate change? So We'll deal with that in chapter 6. All right, let's see, at 17, we're back to our Ferrari. I guess we can't give up on that sports car. So we got 275,000. Let's see, we believe we can get 11.2%, but now we want to buy it in 9 years when we can actually pop the clutch and have fun with it. So how much do we have to invest to have the car in 9 years?
$105,776.60.
Yep, there you go. Everybody good? 105. 77,
776 and 66.
776. I don't know why. I just need to write when you're telling me. 776 and whatever you said, 60.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody good there? Question, yes, ma'am.
I switched everything that came to my calculator, like, I can't seem to get that.
Okay,
Is the interest rate correct? 0.112 or?
now, what do you put in for your interest? Remember, it's always, it's a whole number.
I put in 11.
Yeah, and you should, okay, so let's, yeah, you got the, yeah, yours is different. Yours isn't smart enough to move the desk. Your $100 calculator is smart enough to move the desk. Let's take a look at it, Reagan. I should.
No, I'm waiting for whatever the postal service decides I get my calculator.
All right, so Reagan, we want to clear everything out first, right? Okay, and then we're just gonna go across. So it's 9 years, so we're gonna do 9. And on the interest rate, we're just gonna put 11.2. The finance calculator is smart enough to just move the decimal. Okay. We want to end up with 275,000. That's gonna be our future value. Okay, then we're just gonna compute the present value. Got it?
Keep on going, negative 252, 94.
Okay, let me look at it.
Okay.
We'll take a look. Were you getting everything else or were you off just a little bit on all of them?
On the. Not on all. of them.
Because at the beginning you were getting, right? Okay, all right, we'll take a look at it. If you were off from problem 1 through, I'd say we reset the calculator, but I think we're just keying something.
Did it? See what happens here? I found.
Okay.
The one that did.
Oh, we gotta fix it. All right, let's look at this next problem. Folks, I'm gonna tell you something. This next problem is one of my favorite problems in the whole book. For the whole semester. This is one of my favorite problems, okay? So you made your first $5,500 contribution to your retirement account, okay? So assuming you can get a 10% return, and that's not a very hard assumption, okay? And you make no additional contributions, what will your retirement be worth in 45 years? So you said, most of you guys said you were like 20, 21, 22. So just to make the math easy, so I can do it in my head, if you were 20, 45 years, so when you're 65, what would that 5,500 be worth at 10%?
400,897.66 cents.
So
400,897.66.
everybody get that okay? Okay, not too bad. You know, if you add a supplement to it, you might be able to do it, right? But then it says, what if you waited 10 years because you didn't pay attention to finance? What would your investment be worth then, right?
Like 35 years of this?
Yeah, so it's gonna be 30. Okay,
154, 563, 40.
so 154,
563, 40.
okay. All right, somebody do the math, subtract that out. What's the difference there? That's gonna be 10, 6, 9, 4, 3, 2, right? 246, 330, so almost $250,000. That's why I love this problem, folks, it doesn't get any plainer than that. Right, this drives home what we did the other day, when we were doing the driving concepts home, and working all those numbers and practicing on your problem, or your calculator for you. It doesn't get any plainer unless somebody hits you in the face with a 2 level. You need to be investing early and all. Okay, and we're gonna talk a lot about that as we go through the semester. I know a couple of you have already come by and asked, you know, we can keep going. And trust me, I'm gonna get you there, okay? Not right now, I wanna wait a couple of weeks, let's talk about stocks and bonds, when you go talk to a financial advisor, you understand when they're saying, hey, we're gonna talk about stocks and bonds, and. You know, what's risk, and what's your risk tolerance and things like that. So a couple of weeks aren't gonna matter. Okay, what matters is when you go, oh, I'll do it next month, you know, when I have extra money at the end of the month, we'll talk about how we're spending our money and stuff as college students and. You know, how that
Too
goes.
much at A and B,
Huh?
too much at A and B.
Too much A&B or, you know, whatever. But this is why I just love this problem. I mean, it's so, and that's a one-time payment that you don't touch ever again or do anything else with. Folks, we're gonna do stuff in the next chapter. It's gonna blow this away. Okay? Just hang with me. You gotta come to do it, because I only do it. I do it one day. I can show you how to be multimillionaire one day, investing for 8 years, and that's it. That day I'm not gonna tell you, so you gotta show up. I had one student hounding me every day. I'm like, you gotta just, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Guess what happened the day I did it? He didn't show up. He came back the next day. I'm like, you missed it. You gonna show up again? I'm like, nope. I told you one day. That's it. So it'll be worth it. Okay. All right. So let's finish 19 and 20 here. So you're scheduled to receive 20,000 in 2 years. When you receive it, you're going to invest 6 more years at 6.8% interest. So 6.8, 20,000. Says how much will you have in 8 years? So what is your future value?
Wouldn't you use 6 years as your income,
Oh,
because you're scheduled to receive the 20,000 in 2 years.
uh,
So in 8 years, you don't have a full 20,000.
nope. That's part of the problem. So what's your future value? 29, 679 and 56. Are you? No. Jackson? No. So you don't look anything like your first picture.
Now, my name's
Zach, okay. I was looking, I'm like, I don't see anybody close. Sorry, Zach. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you still don't make. I'm gonna pick that out for you. I'm sorry. Yes, no, Drew, let's stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew, okay.
Like I was just saying,
Does anybody get anything different? Or did everybody do that?
I did it first because I had 8 years. I didn't catch it.
So you had what, like 33? How many had 33? And don't worry about it, folks. The first class, nobody put their hand up. I'm like, you'd be the first class in 20 years that everybody got this problem. And that's not a problem, right? 33, so why do we have 29 instead of 33? Go ahead, Drew, I cut you off.
Well, yeah, just like I was just saying, it says you're scheduled to receive it in 2 years. It's like, oh, you're getting 5,000 each year as a bonus from the company, I guess, or something. So you don't have the full 20,000, but you're thinking, okay, so I need to invest this. So literally from the time when you hear you're going to receive 20,000, that's the 8 years they're pulling from.
Yeah. So you're actually investing it for 6 years. This is where you got to read the problem close, because quite honestly, folks, I mean, let's be honest, this stuff isn't that hard, right? This, don't get a little more. difficult in the next chapter, but even then, it's not that difficult. Okay? You gotta read carefully, because that's one of the only ways I'll be able to throw you off is play with the time. Okay, so make sure, you have questions, go ahead. You have a question?
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, sometimes I gotta finish my, when you have a question, you put your hand up, I'm coming back, but I gotta finish my thought, because if I don't, I have no clue what's up. So you guys, I'm easily distracted, so I'll have to finish, and then I come back to the question. All right, is everybody good on that one? Okay. Okay, so let's look at the next one then. All right, so you expect to receive $10,000 at graduation in 2 years, okay? You're gonna invest it till you get 60,000, okay? Let's see, at 11%. So they're looking for N here. What is N?
19.72.
1917. Wow.
You got the 17.17 that you're waiting in the 2 years that you gotta wait before you get to 2,000.
Very good. So really, it only takes 17 years. But it says you're not gonna get it till you graduate in 2 years, and they want to know how long you have to wait from right now. So you gotta wait 2 years to graduate to get the money, then you invest. Okay, for another 7. Everybody good? Any questions on it? Okay. All right, so like I said, quiz is on for chapter 6 for Thursday. So make sure you read chapter 6, go through your quiz. It's gonna get a little more difficult, I'm gonna be honest with you. So hopefully you'll have some questions when we come back from that. Once we do that, we're not gonna have anything to do over the weekend, because we got a big game. I know you guys are gonna be celebrating, partying. It's probably gonna start, they're probably gonna start coming in probably Thursday night or whatever. So once we get through Thursday, we're not gonna do anything over the weekend. Okay, so you can enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. I will see you all on Thursday. Reagan, let's take a look at your calculator. You sit wherever you want. You're not gonna do anything. Wherever you're sitting Thursday, where you're gonna be. Yeah. Yeah.
My parents may bring this.
Okay.
I don't know how old.
Okay. So, which one do you want to learn? Yes, I'm quick.
I.
That's fine. No, no. Wait, any certain one you have an issue.
Really just. I was able to do it perfectly fine on my own.
Okay. All right, so, let's do it. All right, it's pretty simple. Okay, so 17, so if we look at our time limit here, we want 275,000, right? We want it in 9 years, and we're gonna invest 11. Okay, so turn it on, I'm gonna clear everything out. To the calculator, okay. So we're gonna do 275. That's my future value. 9 is N, 11 is the interest rate. Okay, that is off, so what we need to do with yours. Do you got this? You got a pen?
Let me grab.
Anybody got some? Stick in it. Just, we need to hit your reset button on there.
I think mine needs reset too, because everything was wrong.
Let's see, 275, 1, 2, 3. Future 9, 11. Oops. Yeah.
I tried resetting it in class and that's. I have to just go buy a new one. It's fine. I just got here.
No, usually once we reset these. Once you reset them, we're usually good to go.
Okay.
Okay, so 27. Future. There you go.
Okay,
So yours should be good. to go.
thank you.
Okay. This one, I think, might be. Might need to replace this one.
Okay, all good.
275.
I need to run some staples.
9. 11. Yeah.
It just needs replaced.
Let me, yeah, because it's, I mean, we reset it and it's still, usually when you reset it, it takes care of it.
All right,
All right,
yeah, no worries. I knew. From,
all right. They should have. So if not, the bookstore should. Who's that? Okay.
Remember, so I did the one through 20, but I also did the stuff like online,
Uh-huh.
17 questions or something like that.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Well, like after the reading, like once you end it, you can go like
Oh.
other questions.
Yeah.
Like are we supposed to do those just?
Have a great day, sir.
You too, Ray. We'll see.
I was gonna ask if there's like outside the textbook, if there was like other problems that you would recommend from a resource.
Uh,